Hey guys, it's Jess, and welcome back to another episode of my photo series. Today, we're talking all about how to step up your Instagram game, and I am covering everything from shooting to editing to posting, growing a brand, and then we're gonna finish up the video by talking about some tips and tricks for Instagram stories. So if all of that sounds good, you're in the right place. And the last thing is a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. I will talk about them more later on, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And without any further ado, let's get on into it. Now, in previous episodes of my photo series, I've talked quite extensively about shooting photos, so this section's only going to be more of like a brief review. But if you want additional information on shooting photos and stepping up your shooting content game, then I will link those below. First thing I wanted to talk about for today's video in creating awesome content and shooting cool photos is to think of a fun, cool, or creative concept for your photo. Now, I am no creative director, so my number one source of inspiration is Pinterest. I always find so much good stuff on there. I always get so inspired and come up with such cool ideas just by seeing other people's cool and creative ideas. So I'll see someone's photo or make a board of like a collection of photos or a type of vibe I'm going for, and that will kind of inspire an idea, and it'll make me think like, oh, what if I did it like this, or what if I shot it from this angle? Whenever I get stuck, just having a place to go to get some new fresh ideas that can inspire new ideas of my own helps so much. Another super easy thing that you can do that really changes up a photo so much, and it's something so simple that I think oftentimes people overlook it, is shooting at cool and interesting spots. Now, cool and interesting spots are literally everywhere. You just have to look for them. You just have to keep your eyes out and think of, hey, if I shot a photo here, could this be dynamic and engaging? And oftentimes just the most simple things can be engaging and dynamic, much more so than shooting in front of a blank wall, which is very easy to do, but just taking that extra step to look for something that has a little bit of texture or dynamics. Just be creative and have fun and try different things. I think the thing that makes the number one difference in my photos is posing. Now, posing, I've done an entire video on it, again, linked below, but posing really can change up the energy and the feeling of your photo. Anybody can just stand and smile at a photo. Anybody can just sit there and exist and be in a photo, but adding some life into that photo through posing, adding some dimension, and I'm going to be using those words a lot because those are the things that separate a photo to a great photo, to an interesting photo, to a photo that you're gonna hit like on and maybe even comment. Having these things really changes up a photo to making it from just a photo to a photo. And just posing in a photo is one of the easiest, most simple things that anybody can do without any extra equipment, without having to buy anything, without having to travel to somewhere new to find a spot. That completely changes up how great a photo can be. So next time you're taking a picture, don't just be static, don't just stand there or sit there. The sillier you feel when you're moving around and posing and stuff, oftentimes the better the photo looks. Like the more fun you're having with something, the more authentic and engaging it comes off, and ultimately makes it an amazing photo. And my last tip for shooting before we get into editing is for when you're doing these shots where you're moving around a lot and you're dancing or you're moving your arms or whatever, oftentimes those like in between shots while you're doing something, those movement shots are where you get some of the best photos. So if you're just shooting on an iPhone, which is me probably about 70% of the time, it's so easy, it's accessible, and it's fast, I always shoot photos on a burst. Now, a burst on the iPhone is where you hold down the button and it just shoots a series of photos until you let go of it. You can shoot anywhere from like 2 photos to a couple hundred. I've even shot like a series of like 500 photos. You just keep holding it down and moving it around, and it captures all of those shots from the moment someone presses on that button to the moment that they let go. So there's so much variety. There's so many fun kind of like candid photos, and I am just a ride or die burst photo lover. They're just so awesome, and it is a bit tedious sometimes where you have to scroll through and pick your favorites, but honestly, I think it's worth it because you get so many photos so quickly. There's a lot to choose from, and you know, sometimes when someone shoots a photo, your eyes are closed and then the photo is well, that's that. But if someone shoots a burst, then at least you have a couple options to play with, and there is always something to choose from. Then in the same vein, there are also live photos, at least on iPhone. I don't know if there's a similar version on other devices, but on iPhones there's something called live photos, which is something I am another ride or die fan for. So live photos, when you shoot a photo on live, it captures the 3 seconds right before the photo as well. So again, if you end up sneezing or blinking when the photo is taken, and then that moment is just like ruined by your sneeze or your blink, having a live photo allows you to scrub through and choose a different option of that photo. Now, my more favorite reason that I love live photos, so one thing you can do with these live photos is make it a loop, where essentially it just kind of loops those 3 seconds again and again, and it fades it from the end into the beginning, just making it a continuous loop, which is a very fun thing. But my more favorite thing is you can actually make it a boomerang. Now in the live photo version, it's called a bounce, but it's essentially a boomerang. So any photo that you shoot on live, you can swipe up on your iPhone and choose bounce, and it makes it a boomerang, which then you can upload it to Instagram, and there you have a boomerang not shot on Instagram. So if there's a moment that you want to capture as a boomerang, but you don't have the time to like go to Instagram, swipe over to the stories, pull over to the boomerang, all you have to do is shoot a photo on live and it captures it, and then after the fact you can make it a boomerang. The first thing I want to talk about is app recommendations. My first recommendation is Lightroom. Lightroom is how I edit all my photos. I love it. It is so versatile and comprehensive. There's so much you can do with it and so much fun you can have with it. Actually, Lightroom just allows you to edit a photo as simple or complex as you want it to be. I also love the Tessa app. I usually use it more for videos than photos, just because Lightroom's kind of my go-to for photos, but Tessa has filters for videos, which I love because, let's be honest, the filters on Instagram stories are not like the best. Like, at least I don't love them that much. Like, some are okay, but a lot I don't love. But the Tessa app has a bunch of filters you can use on videos, and you can actually like tweak how strong you want the filter to be. So you can have it be at 50%, 10%, 100%, which allows for so much flexibility. I don't really use many others for photos and videos. I use a ton for stories, which I'll talk about later on in the video. Here are some additional photo editing app recommendations that I have heard such great things about. I personally don't really use them, but in case you just are looking for more recommendations, here are just a bunch you can check out and try for yourself. When it comes to editing photos, one major time saving and just brand cohesive developing thing that I always do, that is just like my thing, is using presets. Now, I know so many people use presets. There are so many people's presets out there. I have presets. A ton of other content creators have presets, but presets are just so great for really curating and developing a look for your feed. In case you're unfamiliar with what presets are, they're essentially custom filters that someone creates in Lightroom, and as with any filter, a preset just gives a photo a very certain look. So for example, if you hop on over to my Instagram, you will see a very warm and pinky toned feed. Now this is a look I've developed for myself because I love that look. So many content creators utilize presets to get a very cohesive, consistent feed, a very certain look to their photos. Now, another really awesome way you can truly step up your Instagram game is by taking a Skillshare class on photography. There are so many classes on photography on Skillshare that you can learn anything. In case you're unfamiliar with Skillshare, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands, I repeat, thousands of classes on so many different things, ranging from animation to design to interior design to editing to photography to illustration to crafting, sewing, so many things. Now, all of the classes on Skillshare are taught by people who are like experts in their field, industry experts, people who are like well known for being good at that, professional people who like know what they're talking about. There is just so much good stuff on there. Most of the classes are 60 minutes or less, so if you don't have much time to work with, if you're just like in between classes, if you're on your lunch break, if you just want to do some learning on the fly, Skillshare is the place to check out. You can do it on your own time, you can pause, you can start, you can rewatch. So if you want something that has flexibility that works for you, where you can learn a lot of stuff as much as you want, Skillshare. is the place to check out. And I actually have a link for you guys for a 2-month free trial down in the description box. And this is a free trial of their premium membership where you can take unlimited classes. Unlimited classes means unlimited learning, so you can really just learn all of the things. And one class that I want to recommend specifically for shooting and editing Instagram content, a class taught by Brandon Wolfell, who is one of like the Instagram kings. His content has a very specific style that I'm sure you guys have seen. Now, the class is called Instagram Worthy Photography, Shoot, Edit, and Share. It's an amazing class, and if you guys are really serious about stepping up your Instagram game, it is definitely one to check out. So make sure to head to my Skillshare link down in the description box to take advantage of that 2-month free trial. My last little editing tip that is just something super fun you can do that just adds such a perfect dash of creativity to a photo is doodling on your pictures. Now, this is something I've done before, and people always just love it so much. It's something that I've seen kind of pick up in trend almost, is people doodling on their photos. I've seen flowers, I've seen leaves, I've seen like squiggles and like little tornadoes. It's just something so easy you can do that makes a photo so much more fun. When it comes to posting, I always plan what I'm going to post in advance. So an app that I super recommend is Unum. It's essentially an app where you can plan out your upcoming feed. So you can upload, I think on like the free version, I think you can upload like 11 images, and you can play around with those. You can drag them, move them around, put them in different places, and see what colors might complement each other, what, I don't know, poses or styles or shots look best placed where. And it's something you can really do to really fine tune how you want your feed to look, really curate your visuals and aesthetics to exactly what you want it to be. Another tip I have for posting is, you know how sometimes you type out a caption and then you post it, and then the spaces are not how you want it to be, and you're like, wait, what happened to my gap between my paragraphs? And it just jumbles it up and makes it hard to read. I actually have like a website recommendation, and it's kind of like a funky looking website. I'll link it down below. It does some sort of like formatting thing where when you put your caption in and you have your spacing exactly how you want it to be, it copies it to your clipboard, and then you can paste it in, and your text is not going to get all jumbled. It's actually going to maintain that. And now let's close out this video by talking about tips and tricks for stories. So first off, we're going to talk about app recommendations. So we've already talked about the Tezza app, love it for stories. And I do want to note that I'm pretty sure the Tezza app is not free. I think it's a like monthly subscription of like $1 or $2, but I do find it to be worth it. Unfold is another very popular Instagram stories app that I think most people know about now, but in case you don't, Unfold has all of these like cool templates where you can design things. Some other great ones are Nishi. This one is super duper cool, would recommend checking out. There's Over, Story Chic, Ash, Made, and Story Art, because even though they're all a little bit similar, they all have something that they bring to the table that makes them unique and very cool. So play around with them and figure out which one you like the best. You can also step up your stories by using all of the new filters that everybody keeps creating and developing. There are so many really neat filters out. I have a bunch that I use. There are so many cool and fun Instagram story filters out now that you really can play around with and make your story so much more fun and engaging. Adding on some rainbow text is another thing I love doing that makes a story so just cute and adds a bit of something else that you don't as normally see. So to do rainbow text, all you do is you double tap on your text, highlight it, then using 2 different fingers, with one you are going to hold the color bubbles at the bottom and slowly drag that finger across the colors, while at the same time slowly dragging across the beginning of text cursor. And my last little tidbit for stepping up your Instagram game is to utilize those live photos in your Instagram stories by making loops or bounces or using the long exposure, creating and posting something that you don't necessarily see every day. And that is a wrap on today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys got a lot out of this video. I really tried to make it like chock full of all of the tips and tricks, and yeah, I hope you guys liked it. Also, you guys might notice that I'm in a different location than my usual filming background. I'm currently in the Philippines, and I came across this like really cute coffee shop, and it's called Cafe Foliage. It's in Novaliches. You guys should definitely check it out. But it's like so cute. Like, what is this. There's a monstera plant. There's a TV with like a little succulent garden in it. It's got all the cute stuff. So if you're in the Philippines, you should definitely check it out. And now for our quote of the day, I'm actually just gonna borrow their little quote that they have on a letterboard over there because my phone is over yonder and I'm sitting down, we're filming this. So today's quote of the day says, "The best things in life are plants and coffee." So thank you guys again for watching. I hope you have the most amazing rest of your day. I love you guys lots and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.